Hello, how are you today? I hope you're well. In today's podcast, we have a bit of a mixed bag, and I'll be talking about some interesting topics. Before we start, just wanted to remind you that I've created a fantastic ebook. It contains 5 fantastic tips to help you to improve your English speaking. These tips have helped thousands of my students to help them to improve their confidence and their English speaking skills. There are practical exercises that you can try straight away, and they start at a beginner level, but you can also increase the level of difficulty to suit your needs. I have recently joined the gym after a prolonged absence of consistent exercise, and I wanted to talk to you about health and fitness. Is being healthy and being fit, is it something which is important to you? I find that it's really important in terms of my life and feeling good about myself. And going back to the gym after a break, I feel incredibly sore, but I've started to see some improvements. But I'm not really a beginner to the gym. I've been exercising for some time, but I've noticed that as I get older, it's more difficult to lose weight. I can't do the same things that I did 20 years ago and expect to see the same results. 20 years ago, I could eat junk food and then I could exercise for a few days and then immediately lose the weight. But now I find that it's incredibly difficult, and I actually have to start thinking about my diet a lot more. And I'm getting more aches and pains, especially my knee has started to crack when I'm standing up. It'll be interesting to know if you take any multivitamins or any supplements in your health regime. At the moment, I'm doing a push pull legs routine. So on one day, I would do push exercises, the next day, pulling exercises, then the next day after that would be legs. And then after that, if I can manage it, maybe some general cardio or working on the abs and core muscles. There are lots of buzzwords that have developed over the years in health and fitness, especially core. Having a strong core is very important, and you hear that all the time. I remember when I was younger, I used to be obsessed with Bruce Lee. I used to love watching his movies. I even had the box set of his films on VHS, on cassette players. So this is going back a number of years. I even had his books, and I was a member of the Bruce Lee fan club. I was really inspired by his story, and he used to talk about having a strong core. This is in the 60s and the 70s, but it's become very common to think about having a strong core, and that's where all of your movements come from. So I try to incorporate some of those exercises. I don't actually mind doing legs. I know there's a stereotype with bodybuilders that you would see big bodybuilders with big shoulders and big arms and then small legs. But I think training the legs, I think it's very functional. By functional, I mean that it helps you, especially as you get older. One of the worst things that can happen is to have a fall. If you fall over when you're older, it can cause a lot of health problems. It can exacerbate health problems. It can make it worse. So by having strong legs and having good stability, and I think helps with your coordination and your balance. I think that's really important. So for yourself, do you follow any kind of health or fitness routine rather? Do you go to the gym? If you do, it'd be interesting to know what kind of exercises you do. Are you doing weights? Are you doing cardio? Are you playing a certain type of sport? How often do you do that type of sport? I love martial arts. And at some point, I would love to go back to it. But initially, I just wanted to improve my general fitness. I remember when I was younger, I really wanted to do karate, but my mom said no and wouldn't pay for the lessons. So I had to wait until I got a part time job when I was 16 and saved up. And at that time, I was earning a grand sum of, I think it was £2 an hour. So I would work on a Saturday and a Sunday. And my first job was working in a pharmacy, a local pharmacy. And it was hard work. It was a shock to the system having to work long hours, but I loved receiving the paycheck. It was an amazing feeling. And then I started to use that money to train in martial arts, and I did that for a number of years, and even trained younger children. So I trained to be an assistant instructor. I was grateful to be selected as one of the assistant instructors. So I would teach the children's class and then do my normal class afterwards. And it was an amazing experience. It really brought me out of my shell and improved my confidence. But often I used to lose my voice shouting and then giving instructions to the children because it was quite noisy. So you had to make yourself heard. And that improved my confidence because I felt good about myself, good about helping these children to improve their confidence, and I loved it. And then progressing on to that, I went through some dips, some highs and lows in terms of fitness. And now I've made the decision to try to really focus on that. I find that it's easier for me to focus on my diet when I'm exercising and training rather than the other way around because I remember the pain from going to the gym. If I've trained very hard in the gym, it's easier for me to say no to that chocolate cake. But if I haven't been exercising, I think it's okay. I can make justifications and think, okay, I'll train later, I can make up for it. But that piece of chocolate cake can turn into two, it can turn into a bag of crisps. So it can start to spiral and escalate. So for me, it's really important to start exercising. Um, and I think it helps with general sense of well-being. To supplement that, I try to walk as much as I can. I am considering buying a fitness tracker to count my steps, but there are so many out there. So I'm just researching that at the moment, and that may be a topic for a video in the future where I can go into more of the details, the pros and the cons. In terms of diet, I love my food. So it's quite interesting because when I was healthier, I ate food in purely in terms of being functional. So I would look at the food and see what nutrition is in the food. And yes, I would spice it up with some Tabasco sauce or some nice pepper, make it taste nice, but it was very functional. But after I got married, and well, actually, before I got married and we were dating and going to lots of restaurants and eating lots of food and discovering all of this amazing food and flavors, it's very easy to overindulge and overeating, especially during winter when it's cold. It's very easy to overeat. And I really want to have some consistency with my diet. I'm a pretty laid back person, so I'm not that hard on myself when it comes to this. So I'll allow myself to have cheat days, but I think having the mindset to be focused on that initially helps to reach the my target weight. So, and this is a way to track that as well. So at the moment, I'm about 14 stone. If I convert that to kilograms, it's about 91 kilograms. And in the UK, stones are used as a measurement. I think it's about 6 kilograms to a stone. My ideal weight would be around 12 stone for my height. So I'm looking to lose 12 stone in, yeah, the shortest time possible, but I'm also being realistic. So maybe going into the new year, having lost a stone would be wonderful, even more. So that would be good. In the comments, let me know about your health and fitness. What do you think about it? Is it something you like to do? Is it something that you dread? This is about Fauja Singh. He is the oldest man to have completed a marathon, a full marathon, at the age of 100 years old. So if we look at the article here, it's never too late to start doing what you love, and Fauja Singh, a British Sikh marathon runner of Indian origin, embodies the statement. We have embodies. Embodies means to represent something in a clear and obvious way. Sentiment is an attitude or thought. So he embodies the fact that it's never too late to start doing what you love. Complete a marathon when you're 100 years old. That's simply amazing. Having taken up running to overcome grief at the age of 89, Fauja Singh, now retired, has numerous records to his name in multiple age brackets. Originally a farmer from Punjab, the long-distance runner is also believed to be the oldest man to have completed a full marathon at the age of 100. We have the word grief here, which means very great sadness. So not just normal sadness, but it's a very, very strong feeling, grief. Retired. This means to have stopped working permanently. So the fact that he started at the age of 89, again, that's just simply amazing. So it's interesting to learn that he used exercise to help him to overcome this immense grief. So now he is retired. Good. So he should enjoy his retirement. The age of retirement varies from country to country. That's also another topic that we can go into in the future. Fauja's childhood was not an easy one. He was not able to walk until he was 5 years old. Due to thin and weak legs, he could hardly walk long distances. As a young man, he took to farming to support his family. Wow, so this story gets even more interesting. The fact that he didn't start off being in fantastic physical shape. So he had to overcome these challenges from a really young age. In 1992, he moved to England and settled in East London with his son after his wife's death in Jalandhar. Settled, this means living somewhere, usually permanently. He made that big move to go to a different country, which in itself is another big challenge. Fauja Singh took to running after the death of his fifth son in August 1994. He started jogging initially to overcome the grief. Wow, so that's immense sadness to lose a son. I can't imagine how he must have felt. It's quite easy to go into a spiral of depression when you have this immense grief. However, it was not until 2000 that Fauja Singh, at the age of 89, decided to take up running seriously. He shot to fame when he completed the London Marathon that year, his maiden full marathon run, in 6 hours and 54 minutes. In the process, he knocked 58 minutes off the previous world's best in the 90 plus age bracket. So that time of 6 hours 54 minutes for someone that's 89, I think that's simply amazing. I haven't done a marathon. It's on my bucket list. It's something that I would love to do in the future. Um, I'm not sure if I could do it in under 7 hours. It may take me a bit longer than that. So, shot to fame. This means to become famous or successful very quickly. In 2011, Fauja Singh, at the age of 100, achieved 8 world age group records in a single day at the Special Ontario Masters Association Fauja Singh Invitational Meet at Birchman Stadium in Toronto, Canada. Wow, so he achieved 8 world group records. I think his life story is simply amazing. The fact that he had to start off life being disadvantaged physically, having to go through immense grief with the death of his wife and moving to another country, then the death of his son, and then starting running and being an inspiration to others. I think it's just amazing, really. And I thought this story was very interesting because if we think about health and fitness, there are two aspects to it. We have the idea of being healthy and being fit, but it also connects to good mental health and keeping your emotions balanced. And sometimes it's very difficult when you're feeling down to actually start to exercise. It's quite easy to say, oh, just go for a run. But when you're feeling down, it takes an enormous amount of energy just to even get your trainers on and get out the door, and then dealing with the elements if you're not in a sunny climate. So if the weather's really bad and it's raining, but you still run, I think it really makes you feel good. You have the runner's high, which is the positive feel-good hormones that are released afterwards and overcoming that challenge, but also having the support network. You can join a runner's group, you can connect with people, you can have apps on your phone where you can challenge people, you can keep record of your distance and your time. So it's really enjoyable. Actually, when I was younger, I used to love to run. I used to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning where the sun would come up and go for a run. And it was fantastic. I felt that I had achieved something before the day had even started. So it's an amazing thing to actually do. I wanted to show you this chart here. So a health survey for England in 2021 estimates that 25.9% of adults in England are obese and a further 37.9% are overweight but not obese. Obesity is usually defined as having a body mass index, a BMI, of 30 or above. BMI between 25 and 30 is classified as overweight. And in this survey, it found that men are more likely than women to be overweight or obese. 68.6% of men compared to 59% of women. People aged 45 to 74 are most likely to be overweight or obese. I wonder why that could be. Why are people aged 45 and over more likely to be overweight? And I want you to think about some possible ideas. The ones that I can think of Could be because of a sedentary lifestyle. So this means when you're not very active. So you've spent a long time working, traveling to work, so you're walking a lot. But as you're close to retirement, maybe it's you're having health problems. Maybe you physically cannot walk as much as you could. So this is quite interesting because I'm 42, so I'm approaching that age bracket. Also in denial about my age, but it's something which you can't change. It's catching up, and yes, age is just a number, but I would like to feel good when I'm at that age. So it's very interesting to see the percentages from 16 to 24. You have 72% at a healthy weight, and as the years increase, that number starts to decline. But it's quite interesting at 75 and over, it starts to increase slightly. That's quite interesting. Now, this idea of BMI, I'm wondering what your BMI is. There are a lot of BMI calculators out there. Now, this is not to be taken as something which is gospel that you should obsess over, because I think there are many other factors when you're thinking about health and fitness. But it's a good way, it's a good measuring stick to see where you are. So my BMI is 28.7. So I fall in that smack bang in the middle of the overweight category. So it's nice for me to know, because I can think, okay, I can have some measurable success. I can have some measurable way to see if I'm improving. But as I said before, when I go to the gym, I like to use weights. I do walk, but I prefer to do weights. So when you lift weights, you build more muscle, which will weigh more, and it may increase your weight. So when you're standing on the scale, you may be not dropping any weight, but that's because you're building muscle. So there are many factors to consider. It's very tailored to the individual. When I say tailored, it's very unique to each circumstance. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you would like to, you can listen to my first podcast. I really appreciate it. And please write down in the comments, even if it's a simple hello. I'd also like to know about your health and fitness regime. What do you think about this whole industry, and how do you apply it to your life? How many times do you exercise? I think it's really nice to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next podcast. Thank you, and bye-bye.